Well, good morning. Today's video is entitled My Family, and I want to give just a brief overview because I'm getting to know my family better than I've ever known them in my entire life because of what I'm going through with the open heart surgery and all the issues that I've had over the past uh, since the end of March. In any case, I want to say that my family has been there for me, give me tremendous support, tremendous. I mean, they have bent over backwards to try to do everything that they were capable of doing to keep not only for me, but to keep my friends posted on what's going on and to just be on top of the whole situation. And of course, having to travel to Gainesville to uh, to visit me in the hospital because that's where I had the operation. I mean, that's a three to three, sorry, 2 to 2.5 hour trip one way just to get there. And they've made that trip numerous times through the past number of weeks, both my son and my daughter. My daughter has been a little more limited in her ability to get up there because of the fact of her children going to school and everything else. But she's even taken at times she's even taken the children kept them home from school to be able to go visit me. So I just wanted to give you that overview of my family, but I'm going to introduce you to my perception of each of the members of my family that I'm getting to know so well, and I appreciate you taking time to listen to this. First of all, my son. My son is a musician and a draftsman, and he has a floating schedule, so to speak. He doesn't work a regular schedule like most people. Sometimes he sleeps into the early afternoon, for example. He very rarely is a morning person. He doesn't get up in the morning at all. He's more of an evening and afternoon person, sometimes late morning. Well, through this whole situation that we have, he's having to get up a lot earlier, and I'll explain a little bit more in a minute. But in any case, he's not a person that works a regular schedule. He hasn't been one for a long, long time. He's always been more of a freelance type of person. And yet he has spent days with me in the hospital and been visiting me during the week. He's more available, whereas my daughter's been more available on the weekends. But in any case, I started to say my son was, what was I going to say? See, that's what happens when you have memory gaps in your memory. Sometimes you put an introduction to something, then you take the sideline, but you forgot what the introduction was. That's what just happened with me. But my son has been amazingly supportive through this whole thing. Oh, and he's so supportive of my daughter. Normally, I would take my grandkids to school in the morning, but of course, I'm not allowed to drive for what is it? I think I have to wait till 6 weeks after the operation before I can drive the car. Is what I understand their quota to be. I think that's what I was going to say earlier. But my son has agreed with my daughter to get up early and take my grandkids to school every day, and they have to be in school by 7:30 in the morning. So he has to get up mighty early each day to do that. And tomorrow he's going to, or I'm sorry, today. No, yes, tomorrow he's going to help me do some work here around the house. I don't know if we're going to do that in the morning or wait till later in the day. So that's a little bit of a synopsis of my son Tommy. My daughter Carrie is almost a polar opposite from my son in that she's very, very forceful and direct, and yet her love comes through in all of this. Now, she goes back to work for the first time since this whole ordeal started. Tomorrow is her first day back at work, and she's been really pushing me to become as independent as I possibly can be, because she doesn't want to feel like she's leaving a gap for me. So actually, both of my children push me more than anybody else. I mean, they really want me to get stronger and better as fast as I can, which I want too, but sometimes I do still ask for help. And I think that scares my daughter a little bit. She's not going to be here to help do some of the things that she's been helping me with since I got out of the hospital. So I appreciate the love of both of my children and the way they've stepped up to the plate and stood by me through this whole ordeal. I know they wanted me to pull through. They were pulling for me, rooting for me. And of course, I knew I never doubted that I was going to come home because my work's not finished yet. Let's go next to my son-in-law. My son-in-law, David, is an interesting person. I never really got to know him very much till this time, even though the whole family has lived in my home for a year and a half prior to the operation. So it's not like I didn't see them, but I really didn't interact a lot with my family. I tried to let them be as independent and do their own thing as possible, and I was pretty independent myself, doing my own thing. Now, of course, David and Carrie are trying to make sure that they have proper food to eat. My meals so far are being prepared. I'm not cooking my own meals. It's probably a good idea. One, I don't have the strength. Two, I don't have the talent. David loves to cook, but it's interesting to watch him because when he cooks, he has a one-track mind. He will cook the first item that he's going to prepare and wait till it's finished before he starts the second item on the thing. And I've never seen anybody cook like him, neither has my daughter. My daughter, when he's cooking, pretty much leaves him alone and gives him space because of the peculiarity of how he cooks his meals. So it's interesting to watch the dynamics going on. And I will say that his meals are really good. He really goes out of his way to do things from scratch, and he takes more time than probably most people take in preparing food. My daughter said what it would take her a half an hour to do, it takes him 2 hours to do. So that's because of doing one thing at a time. Now I want to get to my grandkids. My oldest granddaughter Lydia, she'll be 12 on her next birthday. Is that true? Will she be 13? She might be 13. See, no, she'll be 13 because she was born just a couple of days before I had my first surgery. So, and that was 12 and a half years ago. So she will be 13, and she's a beautiful child, very, very gifted in art. Her art skills continue to develop as she gets older, and I'm sure she will win some prizes in the future in the art thing. But she's also extremely the complex that she's had. Talking to my daughter since she was 2 years old, and for some reason she's not pretty, and she is, but she doesn't think that, and so she compensates for it by gaining a little bit more pounds probably than she needs, and hopefully that will adjust as she gets older and becomes a teenager again. I know sometimes children go through that phase, but she's just a beautiful person, and I really appreciate getting to know her a little bit better. Although all my grandchildren, I probably have spent less one-on-one time with her since I got out of the hospital than anyone else. Yesterday, my daughter and my granddaughter, my second granddaughter, Elizabeth, came in, and when my daughter left, I thought Elizabeth was just waiting to do something with her mother, but no, she wanted to spend some time with me. And so for over an hour, she just talked about things in her life and how she saw things, and it was so beautiful to listen to this young lady who just turned 10 a couple of days ago. So she got made it to double digits. She either wants to be, what'd she say, a writer or oh, no, I don't remember. But in any case, It was just wonderful to be able to spend time with her yesterday over that much time. And when she was probably three-quarters of the way, maybe a little less than three-quarters of the way through the talk, my youngest child, my grandson, Bubba, we call him, came in, and he interjected things from time to time, but mostly was listening to his sister explain to me what was going on. But he just, of all my family through this whole ordeal, especially since coming home, he has been the most loving of all of my family members. And so I find that interesting that the youngest one is the one that shows the most love and affection, not pushing me all the time. Of course, he wouldn't push me. He's just a little kid. So he understands dependence more than the adults do, perhaps. And I want to be independent as quickly as I possibly can. Now, I do want to talk just about one or two other things here concerning the situation. I still am unable to go online and access some of my own accounts because I cannot access the files system where I keep everything stored on the computer. I don't remember the password, and that is probably my biggest challenge. Is to get back to normal, I'm going to have to somehow figure out a way to get into the system that stores all my passwords and see what they are. But some of them are password protected, and I can't even get into the program to begin with to access the other things. So I have to resolve that issue as quickly as I possibly can and get my computers back where they're normal now. My mainstream computer, we turned that on, and apparently during that power failure a couple of days after I came into the hospital, where it knocked it out for quite a while, that I mentioned yesterday, and I falsely said that I was able to do something, to restore something. That's not true. I've not been able to restore anything yet. It actually knocked it back into DOS, so it's not even operating in Windows at all. It's operating in a DOS system. Now, I do have my friend Giselle sent me some information about a friend of hers who lives very close to me, who actually makes home calls. So I'm going to see if he can't come and take a look at my computer. And I have an alternative of a company that I've dealt with for years. I don't remember the name of it right now either, but BITS, B-I-T-S, and they will take probably maybe a week before they get it done, but they are able to usually fix computers and get them back. And thank God, if something's happened to my files on the original one, I do have backups, so they can go to the most recent backup, which is probably not that far behind the other one, if at all. So that's the situation that I'm in. I'm trying to get back fully loaded again and on track. And I just wanted to give you this update. I know it's longer than the videos that I've been doing lately, and that's just the way it is. So I do appreciate you taking the time to listen, and I continue to appreciate all the prayers and support that come to me from around the world. And I thank God that I'm not standing alone, but none of us really stand alone. We are all interconnected. We are all one family, even those that seem to be on the opposite side of the track, or the opposite page. We're all cut from the same divine fabric called God. At least that's the term that I use. So, again, I thank you for listening. I appreciate your prayers and support, including financial support from my family, especially my daughter and her husband are in a tremendous hole because she didn't work for almost 7 weeks. She was out of work. And that really creates a dilemma for them now as they try to catch up and get back on their feet. So any donations, there's things on my Facebook page that will allow you to connect with ways to donate to my family. I've shared